to the podcast. If you feel called to introduce yourself to the good people who may be watching here,
Thank you.
how would you describe yourself?
Thank you. Good to be here. It's, Keenan. Keenan is how I call myself.
Yep, yep.
Austinite. Not born here, but raised here since the tender age of 6 or 7. So I've seen the city grow and evolve, and
Wow.
I consider myself a resident transplant, if you will. But no, I'm Mr. Austin Atmosphere.
Yeah,
Mr. North ATX,
yeah,
Mr. Don't Just Live Grow. Some of the things that I've tapped into around here, but I'm just a local homeboy, man. I'm a local homeboy who likes to. I'm a foodie. I get out here and tap in with the people, tap in with the culture.
yes, sir.
I'm part of the Austin culture. I've seen it and helped, you know, do some of the things that have been done some cool things around here. So yeah, but yeah, Keenan, and
Mm-hmm.
that's in a nutshell. Father, man of faith, husband.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, that's been really life changing, man. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm bit of a reformed party boy.
Amen to that. I resonate with
Mostly reformed.
that.
Mostly reformed. No, yeah, no, fatherhood's been like, it's been the thing that's probably
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
changed me the most, man.
Yes, sir.
But we can get into all that. That was, that's it's been, I'm clearly still wearing the girl dad hat, so it's still something that I'm very proud of.
Man, speaking of hats, I'm feeling inspired. I got a hat that I was feeling like wearing for a second when I saw your hat. I'm gonna stay hatless for now, but
Yeah, yeah.
I really like the hat you're bringing today. That's like
Thanks, man.
I appreciate you with. I've been feeling like I'm entering the hat era of my life now. Like,
Hats are one of those things. It's a way to express yourself. I think I've always worn hats since, when I was, I remember a teenager. Back in the days, I'm a bit older than you. We all wore the Raiders hat. Even though I'm a Dallas
mm,
Cowboys fan,
mm.
if you had the LA Raiders hat,
Oh yeah.
this is when they were in
Oh,
LA.
that's back
Yeah.
in the day. That's like.
We all want, you had to have the LA Raiders hat, the
Mm-hmm,
starter jacket. I don't
mm-hmm.
know if that was still a thing, you know.
Oh yeah, I feel like the Raiders they've been moving around. They got like now they're in what they got Vegas.
They're in Vegas,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
a whole different.
Yeah, they went to LA's got the money too, but Vegas is a different ball game. It's show business for real, right?
True. Oh yeah, yeah. I resonate with that. My mom lives up in Vegas, like around North Las Vegas.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, she bought a house up there, so yeah, she's. I just went there for Christmas.
Oh,
That's
good.
a bit of a Christmas tradition.
Oh, yeah. So I'm sure you get out there a bit.
Big shout out to the Vegas crew. If any Vegas people are
Shout
watching,
shout out
shout out
to
to y'all.
Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful place for entertainment. Yeah, I mean, they got some top notch entertainment out there.
We went to see some Carrie Underwood has had a residency
Ooh,
there.
yeah.
And I guess we went to see her. I don't know. That's been maybe a year or so ago,
Mm-hmm.
but it was good.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, I like all types of music, so we had to tap into that.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your experience. How do you feel about like talking more about the music? Because you make music too, and I feel called. That's like one of the themes of this. This get together, this podcast is like. I like to invite people who make music, and that's something I remember when I first moved to Austin. You sent me your music, and I remember getting you in the studio and
I
cooking it.
I consider myself a curator of music.
Mm-hmm.
When you say I make music, I like to save that term for those with the special gifts of being able to play music like yourself. Um, what I do is I write lyrics, and I create music in my head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I create tunes in my head, and then I get with audio engineers who are able to put together, you know, the vision that I'm trying to explain to them, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
am I the one there punching the buttons? Not necessarily, but we can cook up. So, but yes, I've got some songs that I've released that are out there. Shout out to Don't Just Live Grow. Got one that I've Bat City Nights. You know,
Yeah, I remember that one.
I love that. I'm actually trying to do some cool stuff with that. I'm nothing's signed yet or anything right now, but I've been reaching out to some music supervisors.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Trying to get, you know, a placement on a show that's based, based in Austin, but nothing's dry yet, so we won't talk about that
All right.
right now.
I'll keep it.
When
Keep it.
I'll
Yeah.
come back when
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something to talk
Yes,
about.
sir.
We'll get into that. But yeah, just I feel like it's a good track to represent the city and just kind of have that soundtrack. There's all those there's songs that represent different cities, like how many born in East LA or born in LA. New York has so many songs. I mean, and there's songs where someone will mention Austin and things like that, but I feel like having one to really just having a theme song for the city, something that we can gravitate towards, and just being that we are Bat City, it just made sense, right? So
I feel that. And we're on South Congress right now, so we got the bats just under the bridge.
yeah, this is where it goes down.
Yes,
This
sir.
is where it goes down. I mean, the home of it, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The real essence.
Oh, when my mom came in town like a couple months ago, the number one thing she asked me was like, "How do we see the bats?" I was like, "I got you covered."
Down the street.
Well, yeah, right down the street.
Down the street,
We
yeah.
can just walk and see them from my place.
Bats and tacos.
Yes, sir. Oh, there's some good tacos. So speaking of tacos, I remember you mentioned you're a foodie. You're feeling like you found some good food. How do you feel about sharing some recommendations about some of the food you found in Austin? What's some of your favorite spots that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my go-tos. If you're on the northwest side of town and you want some good, it's a bistro. It's called Chez Z.
Chez Z.
Have you been there?
I have not.
It's really good.
Ooh.
And they have a really good brunch,
Ooh.
I don't know if you're a big chicken and waffle fan.
I'm definitely into the chicken and waffle.
Really delicious chicken and waffles. Really good brunch vibe. Also, they do music. They do live music on some nights. We went to see a few months back. We went to see I forget the band's name, but it was a jazz band.
Wow.
So I took the wife there and for a little romantic dinner and had some good food, good wine, listened to some good jazz. Really smooth,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was we met another couple there and got to talking and exchange contact information. It was good. So good vibe, Chez Z. I'd recommend them. Not getting paid or anything like that, but that's just one. And then there's Bartlett's.
Oh
Yeah. It's the owner. Used to be. He passed away. His name was Tim Bartlett.
Oh, rest in peace, man.
But he bought a Houston's. The franchise Houston. He bought a franchise, but he changed. He was able to buy himself out to where he was able to, name it after himself. And so before he passed away, he named it after himself. Still some of the similar menu as Houston's, but some tweaks to it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the places that it's one of our go-tos as well. And then I noticed on the way here, Garbo's.
Oh.
The lobster rolls.
Oh, I haven't actually had those yet.
So it started up north.
Yeah.
Near Wells Branch.
Okay.
So they started, and it's funny because they started in a strip mall. It's just a small little corner of a strip mall. They outgrew that. They bought another place that used to be, it was over Opal Divines. So we used to have a place called Opal Divines off of Mopac.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Was a good hangout place. Mopac and Palmer that way.
Yep.
They closed down. Garbo's bought that building. Okay. So that's their big hub.
Oh.
On the way here, coming down Lamar, I noticed that there was they opened up one near Lamar and 5th Street.
Ooh.
So if you want a good lobster roll, or a good lobster grilled cheese.
Ooh.
Shout out to Garbo's again. So, yeah, clearly I'm not missing any meals, right? I do like to eat.
I appreciate you.
But yeah, those are some of my favorites to get a good vibe. Um,
Thank you for sharing.
of course.
I'm always looking for like I've been looking for some good restaurants, especially for some like date night kind of ideas. Like I just finally went to this Cuban restaurant down the street from here. My mom, she wanted to get some Cuban food when she was in town,
Okay.
so I was like, yeah, let me check it out. And yeah, it's just like maybe 3-5 blocks just south of here. It was pretty solid.
Was it
It
good?
was pretty
What'd
good.
you
Yeah.
have?
Man, I had that chicken and rice.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
Okay.
I will say, I was like, I think if I go back next time, I would get a Cuban sandwich. I
Because
feel like that's
you
like
have some Cuban origins in your family.
we do. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Al.
Al's from Cuba. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to whoever
Yes.
maybe listening here from the Pinello family.
Absolutely.
We got, the whole crew coming here together, and we got some family connections. So it's a whole
Yeah.
family. So yeah, over in they say Cincinnati. They're kind of in the Cincinnati area. It's a
Yeah.
little bit of Kentucky too, like right
Yeah.
across
Yeah.
the border. They
Mm-hmm.
got was it Wilder up
Wilder.
there up on that hill?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've been to some family reunions up there, man.
Good times.
Good times.
Really
indeed.
good times.
And God bless Al too. Good man, man. He was,
Rest in peace,
really
Al.
a legend. I mean, he had some great stories.
He really
If
did.
Al were alive, one story I'd love to share on his behalf is he told me one time that he when he came to America, he just got on a boat and he just floated that puppy all the way over from Cuba up to Florida.
Wow.
He floated it. He was like,
Wow.
he just had so much faith he would make it, and he made it.
Wow.
Yes,
And he
sir.
did. He lived the American dream.
Amen to that. Yeah.
He was successful.
A true legend. Living like that's incredible. I could only imagine. Because there's sharks in that.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's
no.
like that's not like a casual kind of swim. That's like a real.
Well, and the
ordeal.
temperature's got to be a little chilly
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah. Depending on time of year, yeah. If
and
it's-
choppy.
It could choppy for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if it's hurricane season, like
Yeah.
that could get kind of dangerous.
No, oh yeah, that's, I have ultimate respect for anyone who's wants to get here that bad.
Yes, sir.
Now when they get here, do they want to turn around and go back? I don't know. But no. Yeah.
Well,
Rest in
I'm
peace to
grateful,
Al.
Grateful for Al too, and it seemed like he stayed here, for the rest of his life. From what I was able to see, it looked like he lived a great life, and he started a great family too. Shout out to Chris and Greg and the whole family over there.
I appreciate him giving me access to his basement once upon a time.
Oh, when was that?
When he had the bar.
Oh yeah,
The bar basement
I
down
remember
there.
The bar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was getting to meet people there for the first time, and I was like, it was a little safe haven for me. It's like, okay, I can go down here and have a beverage and just kind of tap back in with everyone as I wanted to. So that was nice.
Yes, sir.
But
I
yeah.
remember the bar basement. That was a cool house, man. I like that house a lot.
Really was.
Man, on the hill, and it was right on the hillside. And then
Yeah.
there's that like front entry where there's like the dining room table, and then you got the living room, the kitchen, and then down the stairs there's like this whole kind of thing that went down into this like bar kind of basement where we would hang out.
Yeah.
And
No.
I always remember being a kid. I remember whenever I was in the bar basement, I was like, man, this is the cool spot.
That was.
And they had a cool view too.
The
down
great
there.
view.
Yeah,
great view. The hill, everything.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, that was good times.
Oh man, yeah, I'm getting nostalgic now. I'm feeling that.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember we used to play a little bit of family poker. That was I think that might have been maybe a little later on when I was there, but it was. I remember one time we had that 4th of July gathering. I remember
I was thinking of that.
I remember y'all
in
came
the back.
up with the fireworks.
In the back, yeah. We put on a pretty good show.
It was a great show. That was
That was-
legendary.
yeah, I got
Man.
the pyrotechnics, right?
Oh yeah, that was. I remember. I still think about that. Y'all got those Texas fireworks. I was like, man.
I didn't
y'all
know if
got
you
those.
remembered that. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know if you remembered that.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That
Yeah,
was like a whole,
yeah.
Yeah.
That was good times. That
Yes,
was good
sir.
times.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, So what song are you enjoying performing the most right now?
That's a great question. Oh, thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I mean, thank you first of all for coming to my album release show. That really means a lot to me.
That was a good show.
I'm grateful that you were there and supported. And big shout out for, I remember you came up to me after the show and were like, oh, let's do a podcast. And it worked out perfect because I've been wanting to do this too. And I'm so grateful you're here. To answer your question too, I've been watching the video from the show. My favorite was when I sang "Got the Light." I just feel like I was getting into I was just feeling that song. It was coming through me in such a clear way. And I've been listening to the recording, and I'm like,
yeah.
I am blessed. I got to sing that, and that's my favorite one that I sang at that show.
That was good. No, that was really good. I've been really enjoying knock on wood.
Yes, sir.
Knocking on wood.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've got good news for you.
Mm-hmm.
I recorded a music video. My friend Kat, big shout out to Kat if she's watching this.
Shout out to Kat.
She filmed this music video for me in, Barton Springs, just outside, with the monkey tree.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was feeling it because I wrote that song in Zilker Park.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I wrote it in a few days, maybe 3 years ago.
I would have thought you wrote rolling the weed there.
Oh,
who's gonna roll the weed? I would have thought that would have been at Zilker, but no, that's
that
good.
one could definitely. It's funny you mentioned that. I wrote that back in Chicago.
Oh, did you?
That was Chicago. I was really high when I wrote that song.
That tracks.
I'll be honest.
That tracks.
I was with my friends Bill and Zach.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Zach and Lauren. She was on her way to the studio. She was about to join us, and we were just kind of jamming. Like we would do these 3-piece jams. Bill, he was usually on drums. He'd play this kind of like jazz kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then and Zach would play guitar, and then I would play piano. So I'd play keys, right? And then usually all three of us, we had vocal mics, so we'd sing too. And so we would just make up ideas. And as soon as Lauren walks in the door, she's like, hey, is it cool if I roll a joint? She had a rolling machine, one of them.
The roller?
The rollers.
Yeah.
And so she sits down, and then all of a sudden Bill is like, you gonna roll the weed?
That's good.
And we're like, that's a song. So we just started riffing on that. I came up with that piano part, just kind of messing around, just playing around, and before we knew it, we were in it. And then I remember Pete came, so Bill's brother Pete.
Okay.
He would come jam with us too, and I remember
Shout out to Pete.
Shout out to Pete. Yeah, Pete Van Eck. Pete, if you're listening, Pete came with the clave, and he busts out these. I don't even know he had claves, right? Because he just busts them out. And he starts doing like a clave kind of thing,
just out of nowhere.
Yeah, just out of nowhere, and I'm like, ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. So. Yeah, shout out to the whole crew. I feel like the five of us really there was something about that energy in that room that night. So I think I ended up recording the guitar solo. I stayed up kind of late, after other people left. I stayed up. I wrote that and recorded that maybe 4:20 in the morning. It was one of those late nights where I was that perfect level of stoned where I was
mm-hmm.
I woke up the next day and I forgot how I played the solo.
Wow.
So to this day, when I play it live, I'm still tuning into that
mm-hmm.
space where I'm wow,
where was
I?
Right.
Where was that?
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that the band here has been learning it, because it's one of my favorite things to jam with other people, because it doesn't quite, when I'm doing it alone, it doesn't quite, it's definitely a band kind of song, because when Dylan gets on the drums and he starts doing that Latin kind of rhythm,
mm-hmm.
and then you got Matthew on the keys.
Shout out to Dylan. He was doing his thing.
Dylan is amazing.
He's doing his thing.
Big shout out to Aviator. Dylan
Shout out to whole Aviator.
Yeah,
the whole crew.
Their crew is also my band too.
What talented guys.
So talented.
That's why I use the term musician. When you say I create music, again, you guys, you're playing multiple instruments. Dylan, his guys, they're all, saxophones going crazy up there. Just amazing.
Incredible. Yeah, I'm so grateful that you saw them.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, big shout out to Matthew for writing a lot of those songs too. He's really such a great songwriter, and Dylan on the drums, and Ethan. One of my favorite people is Ethan, because he's so humble. He's such an amazing lead guitarist and Aviator. Honestly, one of the most incredible guitarists I've ever seen. And when I had him join my band, I looked at Ethan. I was like, Ethan, man, dude, if you want to play guitar in this band, I could find another bass player, because you're such a good guitarist. He's like, oh, no, that's cool, man. I'll play bass. And that's how humble Ethan is, man. He's such a good dude. He's like,
I haven't had the
It's cool
chance
we
to
can get
meet
to meet
them
them.
personally, but yeah, they're, you know, in passing, briefly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They're good guys. Yeah.
yeah.
Big shout out to the crew, and we've had band practice in this room too, so it's kind of funny to like come full circle with the podcast because like we used to do practice at like Space ATX like down off of like on the way to like Manchac that kind of
Mm-hmm.
area,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that place. And at a certain point, I just started getting kind of thrifty, and I was just like, yo, what if we just practiced right here?
Why not?
I'm right next to Seaboys. Like,
Right. Right.
why not, right? And then, honestly, my favorite part is the first time we had practice here, one of my neighbors, she came up to me, and I was like, I wasn't sure what she was going to say. She was like, man, you guys sound really good. So big shout out to the support from my neighbors, too. Like, big shout out to Bobby Thomas. We were
Yes.
talking, I was
Shout out
just
to
talking to
Bobby.
Bobby Thomas, man. He's a character. If
Is
you ever
he?
get to meet Bobby Thomas, man. He's from Louisiana, but
Okay.
he made records. That was his whole life. Like he grew up, in the '60s, and he ended up moving to Los Angeles, and so he made records. He made one of the first records for the Meters.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, big, big producer, like engineer, like so he was like making this record for the Meters. I think it was called Cabbage Alley,
Wow.
and it's that's one of my favorite bands. As far
Okay.
as if we talk about famous bands,
I
actually
need to I
I
need to do my homework.
so this guy up here, for people on the podcast, people might not be able to see this, but I'm pointing to a poster of Leo Nocentelli. And this is the guy who he was like the founding guitarist for the Meters,
Okay.
and so they were like really.
What's
I'll say
who would you compare him to?
some people would say they were like the founding fathers of funk, like as a
Ooh.
genre. So like I mean maybe they could be put in the
George
James
Clinton?
Brown,
Okay.
George Clinton space.
Okay.
They
Okay.
didn't. They were less of a vocal band, more of an instrumental band.
Okay.
But definitely, as far as we're looking at just raw, like what the band sounds like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
funky kind of James
Mm-hmm.
Brown, maybe George Clinton kind
Mm-hmm.
of vibe, maybe funkadelic, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of
Bootsy Collins.
yeah, some Bootsy Collins,
Yeah.
that kind of those kind of cats was that kind of that funky like guitar kind of thing, you know. So.
That's amazing about Austin. How you can just bump into someone who's has some sort of musical history or some sort of musical depth to them.
Oh yeah,
Just out of the blue.
out of the blue. I had no idea too. Like he moved in, and we just started talking. And I just kind of started learning more and more about him over the years. I think we've known each other maybe going on 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And just I feel like every time I talk with him, he tells me a new story that blows my mind. Where I'm like, he'll be talking about how he, in the '60s, he opened a show for the Grateful Dead for like 100,000 people in a field just in the middle of Louisiana, in the middle of like on the road between Baton Rouge and Nolens.
Wow.
And he was just saying like the people came to see Jefferson Airplane and the Dead, and they were so many people that the road like was like blocked off for miles because there were just cars trying to get into the show.
Wow.
And so eventually the police came by and they were like, just go in. Like even if you don't have a ticket, just go because like we want the roads to be open in case someone needs to drive. So just go in.
Unbelievable.
They worked it out with the promoter. Promoter was like, all right, that's cool. Just
Yeah.
come on in.
Just come on in. Yeah. Louisiana has a lot of good music in general.
Yes.
People, just from Zydeco, just to
yeah.
when you get into hip hop, you
Mhm.
think of all the genres.
Oh yeah.
Jazz, all the jazz music from New Orleans. I mean, not just New Orleans, but Louisiana in general.
Yeah.
They're really like a gumbo of music.
That's a
They're
perfect way to say it.
really good music.
Oh yeah.
No, shout out to your neighbor, man. That's cool.
Yes, sir.
That's
yeah.
I'm amazed at how cohesive your project sounds, knowing that you recorded different songs in different places. And did you record a bunch of songs and then select those few, or did you know they were all going on the album? How did you end up bringing it together to where it all sounds like it was meant to be?
Oh, thank you for your feedback. That's a great question. And yeah, to answer your one part of your question, I definitely recorded in Chicago. Like I would say I recorded like 1,000 songs.
Wow.
Just like so, there's a lot of stuff I never released. I just honestly we have a whole like Google Drive or whatever that Bill sent me.
Crazy.
That just has like a ton of ideas that we would cook up, and then I would come in there and I got a bunch of stuff I cooked up, and the thing is, actually, I ended up like I feel like it really came together when I moved to Austin. Because like when I was in Chicago, I was very much in this monk mode of like just making for the sake of making without really like, you know, thinking about like what it was going to become. And
Just
then,
creating.
yeah, just creating, just because I feel like that's like that. That's just that. The reason I was created was to create. And so it's interesting that you asked that question because like I feel like it really all came together when I wrote Intertwine, that song. And I wrote that song in 1 hour here. Actually, just I think I was just underneath the Mopac.
Okay.
I used to go after work at night. I would go park my car and just write songs in my car. And I remember I wrote that one. It just came to me like immediately. I just the riff came and also the melody came, and I was like, "Ooh, there's something to this." And then as I started playing that with the band, as I got the band together, that was Dylan. Actually, everyone in the band, that was their favorite song to play together. So that for me, that was a sign from the other musicians where I was like, "Oh, they like this energy," and then the story of the song. Like it started to really unfold in a really beautiful way because I wrote that song in I think the fall of 2023. And then it came together because I wrote that song specifically about a relationship I was in. And I'm so grateful you asked this because like this is near and dear to my heart because I was in a very very deep romantic relationship with someone back in Chicago, and we had been together for a couple of years, and then she got into shamanic practices as people do sometimes. You know, she got into studying like there's a lot of different like ways shamanic practices are practiced in all parts of the world, like all kinds of different cultures have their own version of it. And she was specifically getting into this like ceremony in Chicago that people would have, and shout out to the Chicago community. I know some people I'm still connected with from there.
Shout out to Chi-Town.
Chi-Town's got some spiritual people up there. They used to call it Spirit City.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I never
like
knew
100
that.
years ago. Yeah, because a lot of like spiritual seekers would move to Chicago.
Okay, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Oh yeah. Still to this day, it's still got a pretty deep tradition with that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing some stuff with some of those where they do the ayahuasca tents,
Yeah. Yep.
and
Yep.
they, what do they call it, with the where they put the heat in there and you
Oh
just
yeah.
they heat it up as hot as you can take.
Yeah. I think they
I
got
forget
something
what.
called a maloka.
Is that what it's called?
It's either that or that's something else. But it's kind of a structure that people
Mm-hmm.
will like.
Mm-hmm.
They'll yeah
It's
yeah
big in Mexico, big
yeah.
in Costa
Hmm.
Rica,
Yep.
different places like that.
Yeah.
I,
That's a
I
big
I
yeah.
see that and I'm like, it's hot enough in Texas,
Yeah.
so so I'm good. But
We got the natural heat here.
we got the
Yeah.
natural heat. You need some of that. Just take your shirt off and. But yeah, I was watching a video and these people were in there and
Hmm.
the guy kept bringing in like, I don't know, hot coals or whatever he was bringing in there to heat them up, and they were
Yeah.
just sweating balls,
Oh yeah. They get the
just
saunas
about to
going on
pass
there.
out. And they were giving them buckets
Yeah.
in case they needed to vomit.
Yep. Yep. It's a whole.
Wild.
It's a whole
So is
wild
this
thing.
going back to your story? Is this what the young
Yeah.
lady that you were seeing at the
She
time
was in a
into?
similar kind of ceremony. It may have been without the sauna, maybe, less heat, more, like Chicago styles, maybe a little less
Yeah,
hot. little more chilly in Chicago.
yeah.
But no, she got together with the community there, and I was with another friend for the night. I was not participating with her. I was with another friend just writing songs together, and I started writing this song, and it was like one of those rare moments. I don't usually write like a song all in one setting where I just sat down and it just flowed through me. It was kind of like Intertwined. It was like the precursor to Intertwined. And it was just kind of like sea shanty kind of vibe where I was like, I felt like I saw this vision. So this vision came to me as I was writing and singing, and I had this vision that I was a sailor from like 500 years ago, like a Portuguese sailor, like sailing around South America.
That's wild.
And I had this vision very clearly because I remember the crew, we landed on the shore, and like, long story short, it was not a kind visit, you know what I mean, with like the indigenous people there. So like, it was something I didn't think too much of until, my girlfriend at the time, she called me the next day. She's like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something." I'm like, all right, what's on your heart? I didn't know what she was going to say because I didn't say nothing, but she just says, "So I had this ceremony last night. I had this vision that I was this Native American woman in South America, and then like these sailors came, and I was like, yo, I have something I would like to express to you." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, I had the same vision, but from like the perspective of the sailor. And so that was that moment in our relationship. We were like, "Oh, Paul, let's pause for a second." Like we were like, "Hold on, there's a lot to process." So
That is a lot to process. And this isn't something that you guys had a little, sailor kink before
I
and
mean, we had some other kinks, but that's a whole different.
didn't just revisiting.
That we had more of we would joke about Atlantis. That was like
Okay.
yeah, that was our thing.
Okay. I didn't know if you were running around like Popeye and she was olive oil.
I got some spinach. I got like a pipe or something.
No, that's I mean, that's pretty fascinating though.
Yeah, thank you for your feedback. It was wild because like we definitely drifted apart a bit after that realization. I ended up like going to work in San Francisco for a bit, and that was I feel like where it really kind of like fell apart was she wanted to come to San Francisco with me, and I was like, I just wasn't really, for some reason I just wasn't feeling. I just feel like I was like so deep in work, and I was feeling that like you know pressure, pressure from working, and I just felt like it would be easier for me to just go there solo and just kind of get my feet in the ground before I had her live with me. Because I was going to San Francisco, I was living in a very small, it was basically like a studio, like a tenth the size of this one. It was like basically, it was kind of like a closet. But it did have a shower, so shout out to the, the company that hosted me up with the
Showers are
shower.
good, yeah.
That was because I was the only one on the floor with the shower, so I'm blessed. I got a shower because the other ones they had a community shower just on that floor. So, but they did have a recording studio. I was off of like Fourth and Market, like right downtown. Like so, it was my first time being in San Francisco, and I didn't ever like. I didn't realize how fast things move there. Those people are like even in the grocery store. I went into Trader Joe's, and there were 100 people in line. I was like, man, this is gonna take. Man, I'm gonna be waiting here for an hour. Like, how are they gonna bag all these groceries? I swear to God, that grocery bagger was the fastest. Just she was like a machine. She was like
getting them out of there,
getting them in there. I was the most incredible bag, and she was scanning them too at the same time. She would like do this move. She would like scan them and bag them like
the Matrix.
I was like, yeah, what is happening? Yeah, she was like Neo or something. Like, what is happening? So I was out there in like 10 minutes. She just went through.
And so intertwined.
And so yeah, coming back to that.
You guys had this vision. You have a vision. She has a dream.
Yeah.
They kind of correlate with each other.
Yeah.
So you come back. You're talking with the band.
Yeah.
It's all coming together. This is why you say, "Hey, I think this is the song."
Yeah, and it really came together because so after I broke up with that woman I talked about earlier, we went our separate ways. There was some I had some feelings, like I felt like, I definitely like I respect her boundaries because I was like, she told me to never reach out to her again. That was her request.
Wow.
There were just there were some feelings toward the end of it where I felt a bit frustrated, just like from the pressure of working, and also I felt like I wasn't communicating in a healthy way, and so she just asked for some space, and I said I respect your boundary, I'm just
Sure.
And so the thing is, like, I just figured I'd never hear from her ever again. I was just like, all right, she's doing her own thing, and so years pass. This was like back in 2020. I want to say, it was 2019. It was back in 2019. So
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, yeah, years. And this is the beginning of February 2019. Like, years pass, right? I think it was 5 years later. I had already moved to Austin. I was living here. I was playing with the band. I had like been doing these shows at mansions on, one mansion on like Lake Austin, beautiful home. Like,
that's cool.
Overlooking the lake, and I remember I did one for the the spring equinox 2024. Beautiful experience. And I sang actually the song called "Falling Slowly." It's just written by this Irish guy, and like I remember singing it. I had this duet with my friend Rush. Shout out to Rush. He got married. Big shout out to Rob. Congratulations. They went to Hawaii.
Shout out Rush and Rob.
So they, we sang the song together, and I was thinking of that relationship because that used to be when I was in a relationship. That was my significant other. That was her favorite song. Was that song, and I sang it, and I swear to God. The next day, she reaches out to me. She like sent me an email. She's like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I want to like say that I forgive you, and I want to reconnect with you." And I was like,
Okay.
"Bet." I mean,
Or you okay?
Yeah,
You
I
were so
mean,
you were with
honestly,
it.
I was with it. My body was definitely feeling like something,
It's usually how
because
it
it was
goes.
5 years, and I was like, to be honest, I actually threw up after I read the message because I just wasn't expecting it to ever hear from her again. It was so I felt so
Did you have one
surprised.
of those ayahuasca buckets?
Yeah. If you call that a sink, then yes. Fortunately, I made it to the sink for that one, so I was able to clean it up pretty easily. But it was wild. My body was like, whoa. So I was like, you know what? I do want to reach out to her. So we ended up reconnecting, and this was like, we ended up talking and having this beautiful conversation. And unbeknownst to me, we had both decided to move to Texas the same year without talking to each other. So it turns out she was living here, and I just didn't even know. We were living parallel lives for like years, for like a couple of years. And
That's
here,
crazy.
yeah, it's wild. And so I ended up going, and visiting her like a month later. I think it was the day after 420, it was 421. And it was, I went down to San Marcos, and we went on the river, and we just talked for like 5 hours. And I just remember it being a really surreal experience of like, wow, this is life. Like, here we are, just like, after all these years. Like, there's something
We're back
about,
here.
yeah, we're back. We're back here. Like,
We're back and we're
and
here.
we're here. We're
Yes,
back
yes,
and we're
yes.
here. Yeah, it's like there's something. It felt like honestly, like I was on some
Like
kind
a
of
destiny.
psychedelic
Oh,
destiny experience. Like, yeah, like it felt like a dream in some ways. Like, and so that and
surreal for
it
sure.
was surreal, and that was actually a big reason. So she listened to Intertwine, and she was like, "I know what this is about." And I was like, "You know what this is about? Like, you get it. You already know." So like, I feel like that was the moment where like,
Was she
it,
also a musician?
oh, she like she's very into music. She's more of a painter and an actress,
Okay.
but she has some music background. Like, she definitely, we would have some, like, we would listen to a lot of music together. Like, remember one of my favorite experiences was like, we had this one night where I just listened to this entire Marvin Gaye album with her. I
Mm,
played What's Going On for her, and I was like,
classic.
and we were living in Chicago at the time, and I was like, ooh, this is something else. Like, it brought me to, it was like right after,
Oh yeah.
it was right after the Cubs won the World Series. And
Oh,
it was just a classic kind of feel, and I was like, man, this is something else right here. Like, that's something that we would appreciate together, is some like real classic music.
good. Yeah.
So I'm grateful, I'm grateful for our connection. It was, and I'm grateful that we reunited and got the opportunity to forgive each other too, because I forgave her, she forgave me, and we had this beautiful moment of reconciliation.
Yeah, of course.
And that was where I feel like the album really came together. Was like, man, like all of a sudden we're back, and then she listened to that song, and then it just, all the whole message started coming into, because that's where like Forgiven was like this like gospel song I wrote, and then it came into the clarity where I was like, oh yeah, like there's this like there's this tragedy, and then it ultimately comes into clarity, and that clarity is forgiveness. And I feel like that's what really ties it together for me, is that theme of forgiveness.
Yeah, I
Even,
like
even
that
through
one.
that, all those years of like, figuring out how to forgive,
Mm-hmm.
and finally coming back together and doing that in this life.
Yeah, I mean that's important. Forgiveness, right? For me, that's one of the foundations of my faith in Christ. Right? Is
Amen.
forgiveness. Right? Is what the whole purpose of why He did what He did. On the cross
Amen.
is so that
Amen.
we can be forgiven for our sins and not have to pay the price for them. So
Mm-hmm.
I resonated with that message.
Amen. Thank you for sharing your experience.
That brings me to the point of, you know, what's your higher truth?
That's a great question. I feel, someone once told me about that song, because I was like, starting to get some good feedback. Like, a lot of people started listening to that song. It started going kind of viral. And someone sent me a message, and she said, "This is the most roundabout gospel song I've ever heard in my life." So I realized, like, what I created with that song is I wanted to like give people an avenue into the gospel through like a pop song. Like, I wanted to create a song that like someone who might not even go to church or even like understand what Jesus did, someone could listen to that song and then say, man, I like dancing to this. You know, maybe someone was even just at a club or something, and maybe they might have did a bunch of whippets, and that song comes on, and then they're like, I like that vibe, and like maybe that could be an avenue to bring them back to Jesus, and that's
Yeah.
like indirectly, and that's why I wrote the song deliberately, like not like a traditional kind of Christian song, because it doesn't really specifically mention Jesus by name or like, you know what I mean? It's purposely it. I feel like sometimes like I speak from my own personal experience, and I want to share in all honesty. Like I went through about 10 years of my life where I really struggled with my faith. I really
Sure.
struggled because I don't know if I told you this story, but there was a guy named Corey I went to high school with, and Corey was a great guy, man. You know, most people loved Corey. He was a good athlete. He would run, you know, cross country. He would run, you know. He played video games with us too. Like we would hang out with him at this place called Duckett's. We play Halo.
This back
This is
in.
back in Carbondale. Yeah. So yeah, for anyone who just get more context, I grew up most of my life in Carbondale, Illinois, Southern Illinois. It's kind of more like Texas than Illinois, honestly. It's got people kind of talk like this, you know. There's some people like, "How are you doing?" You know.
More Midwest feeling.
It's more of a Midwest kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. It's like less Chicago, more Texas. And so Corey, you know, we grew up together. We went to the same high school. That's Carbondale Community High School. And so Corey, you know, a lot of people loved him. He was a good guy. And I remember I was a freshman, and Corey was out there. I think he was a little older than me. He was out running, and it was I was outside too at the time, and it was barely even raining. It was like it just maybe there was a couple drops I felt. So I remember I went and grabbed this like metal umbrella from like one of the tables next to us, and all of a sudden I hear this boom, this cannon goes off, and like, you know, I ran inside with the people I was with, like, you know, we didn't know what was going on, and I got upstairs and like, you know, someone told me they're like, oh, Corey, like he got struck by lightning.
What?
Yeah, yeah. So like, I wasn't like I wasn't sure how to feel at first. I was like, I wasn't sure if someone was like joking or like, and they're like, oh no, like they tried to revive him, but they weren't able to. Like the ambulance came and everything, paramedics, they were like trying to like resuscitate him.
That's not something that you hear. You hear of it, but you don't actually. I've never known anyone that's known anyone that have lost their life to being struck by lightning.
Me neither until that point.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was challenging, man, because like,
And you heard it.
yeah, and I still hear it even just talking about it. Like I still, it was like a cannon like went off like right in my ear. Like
Wow.
it was something else, and I just remember going home and
So tell me. So was this a field? You guys were in a
yeah,
field?
right outside the high school.
Okay.
Right out. He was like running cross country, you know. So it was like one of those track and field kind of clubs, like you know, for competitive runners. So they would do long distance running. And he would
Wow.
like run laps around the high school and like, and he was in good shape. He was well loved. He was a good guy. And man, when he passed, I just asked. I was like, man, why would God let that happen to Corey?
You.
And so that just really like, I just felt really shook about that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I just didn't feel like it made any sense,
Yeah.
you know? And so I honestly went, like, for like 10 years, like, after that happened, I honestly used to tell people that I was an atheist because I just felt so upset about that. And I didn't know how to process it. So that was my way of,
Like the idea of this
processing.
good guy that you know,
Yeah.
that everyone knew was a
Yeah.
good guy,
Yeah.
to get struck by lightning. You know, that's
Yeah.
one of those things where people say, if I'm lying, you know, may God just strike, you know.
Yeah.
You just don't hear that happening. It's usually a case of, you know,
Yeah.
you're the bad person. And even then, you don't hear about it actually happening to anyone.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that, you know, yeah, and you were young, right?
Yeah, I was 14.
Yeah, I mean,
And he was maybe 16.
yeah,
He was
as
young.
a
He
kid,
was
you guys
he
were
was a
kids.
kid. Yeah, we were kids, and like, I just still think about, I just still feel that, you know, because it's like, because his mom too, you know, she was like, really, she felt really upset. I mean, to understand, you know, that's her son. That,
Yeah,
you know,
that's sad. And I you know, I don't claim to have answers to why sometimes bad things happen to good people. because it does sometimes, you know.
Amen.
He-
Yeah.
Yeah, well, man, that thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. Have you done any songs particularly dedicated to Corey?
Yeah.
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 What's one of them?
I wrote the song. It's called "It Could Have Been Me."
Mmm.
And
I need to do my homework.
I haven't even released that. That's honestly that one. I was like, I got so emotional like recording it that I just decided not to release it because I was like,
Mm.
cool. Also, when I wrote that song, that was the same summer. I wrote that song about a month, and wrote it and recorded about a month before Sam passed away in North Carolina. So like when that happened, then I was like, it took on another level of meaning for me. And rest in peace to Sam too.
Rest in peace
For anyone who knows
to
that
Sam.
story, just for context, one of our family members tragically passed away in a vehicle collision on the way back from family vacation. We have a tradition. We go to the Outer Banks and to the ocean there, and like just driving across. I think it was one of the bridges. There was like a truck carrying a whole boat, so it just he got hit like pretty head on, and I'm just grateful for God saving the lives of everyone else left in the car, like my cousin Fiona and like
Amen.
Henry
Yeah.
and Emily and Margaret, and I know Margaret, Emily had like a ton of surgeries. They like airlifted her out of there, and so I'm just grateful that they're alive, even. So amen to that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
you have to count your blessings for those that were saved. Definitely.
yeah,
Oh man, rest in peace to Sam. That was, still get choked up thinking about that whole situation. For the family. Just
yeah.
so. Yeah. Um. No, man. Yeah. That's. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. So what's next? What are you doing next?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. I mean, first of all, next, I'm gonna be praying tonight for sure. I've been
Uh,
praying.
yeah.
I've been reconnecting with my faith, and like, I'm just grateful that I've been able to allow God back into my life. After all these years of just like really processing, like, just realizing that like ultimately, I feel like I just talked to my uncle Pete one time on my mom's side of the family. He's a preacher in Bloomington, Illinois, and like I remember, dealing with stuff like this. He told me like, I asked him, I was like, man, Pete, and I told him what I told you, and I was like, Pete, what do I do? And Pete just said, well, how do you feel about reading the book of Matthew? And I said, all right. I mean, I didn't know what else to do, So I was like, I just said, why not? It's one book. I could probably read this in like a day. It's probably not. I could do that. Why not? And I remember reading the book of Matthew, and I just remember being like, man, this is beautiful. I just I felt like the Holy Spirit was speaking straight to my soul
Right.
when I was reading that book, because it's such a beautiful story of the life of Jesus,
It is.
and the death of Jesus, and then the resurrection of Jesus too, and that message is. I realized, I was like, even through death, like there can still be life.
Oh no, absolutely. And I mean, when you say, going back to when you say "Why Not Me," the song that you didn't release,
Yeah, yeah.
God has a plan for you, right?
Amen.
He's still using you. He's still using your life, right?
Amen.
And I've had, I don't want to say similar situations as far as the lightning strike,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, in my younger days, teen years and things of that nature, we were running the streets.
Yes,
Me
sir.
and friends, cousins, things like that. We were kind of out there doing our thing, doing all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and one of my cousins, who was just a year older than me, he got shot in the face and died.
Oh,
And he wasn't doing anything that I wasn't doing, you know. So I've said, could have been me. Also, and there's several other scenarios where I've had friends that have, done things and gone to jail for 20, 30 years, life,
yes, sir.
um, you know, and I'm thankful that God steered me clear of scenario, where it happened to me, where I was the one.
Yeah.
Because some of those situations could have been me. I've definitely put myself in situations to where I could have lost my life.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done time.
Mm-hmm.
I could not be standing here today, happily married, with a beautiful, daughter and things of that nature, and just a relationship with God. Because at that time, I wasn't necessarily walking a path. I always knew that God was there.
Mm-hmm.
I would even pray, even in my wildness. I was the guy that would we would be getting ready to go out and cause havoc and cause ruckus, but I'd be like, God, keep us safe on the drive.
Amen.
It was like I was that guy, right? It wasn't
Yes,
like
sir.
I was, necessarily walking
Mm-hmm.
the most righteous, you know,
Yes, sir.
walk at the time, but God kept me. He kept me here. He saw me to this day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I don't even, I don't like to say certain things because I don't want to glorify it. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
things that were done, but literally, I can remember being, just a wild story.
Mm-hmm.
Being 16, not really knowing necessarily much about mushrooms,
Mm-hmm.
but having friends who'd come across some.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 16, I was driving, you know. So eating mushrooms when you're 16, fairly new at driving,
Mm-hmm.
and getting on the road, not knowing when they're going to kick in, not the wisest thing to do.
Yes, yes, sir.
I learned a lesson on the road that day, um, that you just don't want to be on the road while on mushrooms while driving. And I was able to fortunately get to safety, and I'm here today to talk about it. Um, so, and I could give you countless stories about different things and different scenarios like this, to where it is only by the grace of God that I'm sitting here today. It's not by my, I consider myself to be pretty level headed and to be pretty cautious and, on my toes when for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's not any of my calculated moves that have kept me here,
Yes.
because I've had some miscalculations.
I resonate with that.
You know,
Yeah, your feelings are valid. I definitely, I've had my fair share of miscalculations in my life too, and I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful to be here with you. I definitely feel that I've had a similar experience driving with LSD when I was like 18, and like, in retrospect, not a good choice. Not a great.
probably one of the worst
Yeah, probably
choices.
one of the worst choices. Like, that was one of the worst experiences I've had with that kind of that substance, for sure. Being on the road, like I put my life in danger. I put other people's lives in danger. I'm grateful, like, fortunately, no one was injured or anything by the grace of God.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your experience too. That's wow.
Yeah, man. When I say I've grown up in Austin, but I wasn't born here. I was born in Beaumont, Texas,
Wow.
which is about an hour southeast of Houston,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
pretty close to Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with Beaumont.
Okay, you're familiar with Beaumont, so.
My neighbor Mike, who used to live in Bobby Thomas's spot before Bobby Thomas, he's from Beaumont.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. So he's taught me some of the Beaumont, history of that
I mean,
area.
some people call it Louisiana, Texas, because it's literally right there on the border.
Yes,
So,
sir, right there.
and so coming from there, my family in Beaumont was
Mhm.
completely different than when I got here to Austin.
Wow.
I was, they weren't eating mushrooms
Yeah.
and things that my grandma, she's an old country black lady. She wasn't eating mushrooms growing up. They might have a little bit of brown reefer. It wasn't even really green back then. It was, it was certainly swaggier than swag, and she liked to, they drank Seagram 7
Oh,
and
I
7,
remember
and,
7.
you know, old Milwaukee beer and that kind of thing, cigarettes,
Oh,
you know,
mm-hmm.
but never any of the other stuff. Now, I will say that, I have some uncles that, you know, definitely got into, crack when that came around, if we're going to be completely honest. And one of my uncles ended up doing, he was a really cool guy. R.I.P. Uncle Derek, man.
R.I.P. Uncle Derek.
He was a character, man. He was only 5 years older than me, so he was like an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
All kind of mischief growing up, but I had two uncles, my Uncle Hank and him. They were 2 years apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
When the crack epidemic hit in the late 80s and early 90s, it just took hold of the streets and took hold of the communities, not the streets, because it wasn't the streets at the time, it was the communities.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was able to witness, because one of them was 5 years older than me, one of them was 7 years older than me. One of them, Uncle Hank never touched the stuff personally, but he got into selling it. So I watched the hustler in him, become a real hustler in that game. And then Derek started using.
Oh, wow.
So you saw one using, one selling, and what they brought. While one of them's wearing jewelry. I mean, my Uncle Hank's probably the first person to be like, he'd be like taking off, here's some Air Jordans. Back when Jordans first came out, back then.
Oh, yeah.
He was getting Jordans, and he'd wear them a little while, and then, he'd pass them to me.
Ooh.
Yeah,
all right.
well, I mean, drug dealer proceeds.
Yeah, I mean.
But, then to see my Uncle Derek, where he'd be the one that, if I left him out, he might take him. You don't leave him out around him, because he giveth and he takes away. No, but no, man, it was just one of them. Uncle Hank, he ended up dying of it. He gave up the life. He became a truck driver, successful truck driver. So he turned his life around before he passed away. Uncle Derek ended up doing time, for robberies, and then died in prison. So, knowing that I have, many stories, and I look at how God has saved me from so many different scenarios and ways this thing could have gone. We're still in it, though. We're still in the trenches. I'm not out of it yet. Not out of it until we're out of here, right? We're not out until we're out.
Amen to that.
So, but we keep pressing forward, and I'm excited about things that are happening, and got some things in the works that are just exciting and fun to do. Again, and like you said, I like to create. So if it's not music, it's clothing.
Yeah.
I do different things. I like to dabble. I'm a dabbler. I like to dabble with my creativity in different mediums. So but shout out, go check out Bat City Nights. Download that right now.
Check it out.
Also, Don't Just Live, Grow on all platforms.
Yes, sir.
Completely different types of music.
Yes, sir. And what's your artist name that you would say to share with the good people here?
Both are under Kheanan, Kheanan.
Kheanan.
Also, if you want to go check out my podcast, Austin Atmosphere, YouTube.
Yeah.
Austin Atmosphere.
At Austin Atmosphere, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's a reaction channel that I'm doing. So I like to react to some of the current events going on, talk about some of the things that I'm seeing, give my little 2 cents on it. For those that want to hear it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's serious, and sometimes it's just fun.
Thank you for sharing your experience.
Yeah.
Especially with your family and with your music and your podcast and your clothing and all the endeavors you're in. And if you feel open to share, I'm just curious, how you're feeling about some of like the current events going on in the world, whatever's calling you that?
Well, I've been paying attention lately. I don't know if you've been watching the story out of McKinney
Oh, are you
with
talking about?
Carmelo Anthony, and
Mm-hmm. I
the
think I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
there was the young man that is on trial for stabbing the other young man. He was under the tent.
That's right.
Too high.
That's right.
I mean, it's a tragedy all the way around.
Yeah.
There's really no winners in the situation. You have one kid who was a twin, and then this other. It was raining. They were at a track meet, I guess, and then there's also the racial dynamic. The kid that got stabbed was a Caucasian kid, and the kid that stabbed him was a black kid, and people like to make it a race thing. I think it's two juveniles, both making bad decisions, one worse than the other. From what I'm hearing and just following that case, it was raining. The kid came under the tent. The black kid went under the tent. The white kid tried to have him moved, tried to tell him he couldn't be there.
Yeah.
And, basically grabbed his bag and tried to remove him. And, I guess the kid had a knife on him. And, a stabbing happened. I don't want to say allegedly because they're on trial for it right now.
Yeah.
And so one kid's dead and another lost his life.
Yeah.
I mean, one kid lost his life and another's fighting for his freedom, not to go to prison. So I've been following that one. That one's hard, man, because I have such a heart for the youth.
Yeah.
Even at my church years back, I'm not necessarily doing it right now, but years back I used to be a youth leader.
Congratulations.
Just because of all the, like I said, the mischief and things that I've been in as a youth, and things could have went a different way.
Yeah.
And just by the grace of God, it didn't. I'm like, I want to pour back into the youth, pour back into the community. So I definitely do that. I am volunteering for VBS this year. So tomorrow, in fact, I'll be. But they're a smaller group. They're not quite teenagers.
Yeah.
They'll be like, 3 to 11-year-olds. I have like 100 of them tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So all this week, tomorrow through the end of this week, we'll be having activities and teaching these kids about Jesus and things like that. So I'll be doing that this week. But back to the story with those young men. I just think, there's this other, and the remaining twin that didn't die, it's sort of like when you look in the mirror, you see, it's just one of those sad stories. And the other kid seems really like remorseful too.
Yeah.
But he still has to fight the case.
Yeah.
So you have to fight the case.
Absolutely.
It's so I'm going to see how that plays out. I'll be paying attention, but condolences to the victim, and best luck for the other kid as well. I want peace for all parties involved. I pray God's hand over all of them. But so I've been paying attention to that. On the music side, it was. I don't know if you saw Jay-Z come back to the Roots Picnic.
I heard about that. Yeah. Oh man. I love what Questlove's doing with the Roots Picnic, man.
That's yeah. I was gonna ask, have you been to any of those? That was in Philly. It was in Philly.
I've been thinking about going there. Philly, man.
Yeah.
How's yours? Have you been to one of those just out of curiosity? Or?
I've seen the Roots multiple times.
Oh man, the Roots are incredible.
But I haven't been to the Roots Picnic.
Shout out to Questlove if you're watching.
Shout out to Quest.
Quest is
one
of my. I will go on the record and say, obviously my favorite drummer alive.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm just gonna put that on the record. Look, I know there's a lot of great drummers. I'm not trying to say like there aren't other great, because there are other amazing drummers too. I just personally, for me, Quest is like. I mean, also I love his podcast too. Shout out to.
Shout out to Quest, man. I mean, I haven't been to the picnic, but I've seen him live a couple of times. But what'd you think about Hove coming out? And did you hear the freestyle where he went at some people?
I haven't heard the freestyle yet. I will say, he's one of the most incredible freestylers I've ever heard in my life. I mean, legend has it, for anyone who doesn't know, Jay-Z, when he records, all those tracks, pretty much everything he does is a freestyle. It's pretty. It's if you hear it on a Jay-Z record, it's him freestyling. He just comes up with that. Just he just knows
Yeah.
what he wants to say and he says it.
He doesn't write.
Yeah.
You know.
Like he told a story one time. He said the record producer was like, Jay-Z, I need you to come in here with some lyrics and write them down. And he would just make up stuff.
That's what I've heard.
He would pretend like he was reading it, but it wasn't even.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But the I've heard that he doesn't write his stuff down too.
Yeah, he's a legend. So what? Yeah, what was some of the?
No, so he obviously, first of all, that this is what 2026. So
Yeah.
this is the 30-year anniversary of Reasonable Doubt, his debut album.
Wow.
When that came out in 1996. I remember that.
Yeah.
We were going to South Padre and different places when Reasonable Doubt was playing. That summer was crazy.
Wow.
But anyway, so it's the 30-year anniversary of Reasonable Doubt. It's a 25-year anniversary of The Blueprint.
That's yeah.
So that one dropped right around September. It was during 2001, right near 9/11.
Right there.
I want to say it was the same day as 9/11. I think it was on 9/11. I think it dropped on 9/11. Funny enough, I was dating Jessica at the time.
Wow.
So we've been together that long. So even before then, but that was just a side note. But yeah, so 25-year anniversary, 30-year anniversary. So he's outside.
Yeah.
So he does the Roots picnic.
Yeah.
Comes out, he does a freestyle. There's been a lot of allegations going on with him. People have had that. People have been taking shots at him, from different angles. Some of those people that he addressed he addressed obviously his old business partner and Rockefeller co-founder Dame Dash.
That's right. Yeah.
Dame had a situation earlier this year where his teeth fell out on camera.
On camera.
On camera. So shout out to Dame and his teeth. But if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Just all you have to do is search for Dame Dash teeth.
Dash teeth. Check that out.
But so Jay, he in that way that he does, he mentioned people's teeth tumbling out of their mouth. So he tapped on that. He mentioned some things. He addressed Nicki Minaj. He made some references to her. You go listen to it. He touched on a few things. He did what he does, and obviously Drake dropped Iceman.
That's right.
And so Iceman takes a few shots at Dre. One of the lines is the jig is up. And Jay-Z goes by Jigga.
That's right.
And so one of the things that he addressed on that was he said the jig is up. Nah, I'm up 10. And he was talking, he took it. He does what he does. Yeah, he took it up. And so, and then he went on to perform some of his hits with the rest of the guys. Questlove is one of the best drummers. I would say Black Thought is one of the dopest lyricists.
Yeah.
As well, just when speaking lyrics and just lyricism and that lyrical gymnastics that he does and ability,
Incredible. Yeah.
Super incredible.
Phenomenal.
But Jay did his thing, man. So that's some of the current events I've been checking out. The Carmelo Anthony thing, Jay. I mean, we don't have to talk about it, but I obviously we see what's going on in Iran and that whole scenario and with the Strait of Hormuz and that whole situation. And, I just, one of the things that I've been looking at though is I was going to ask you, are you doing any 4th of July shows?
That's a great question. Oh man, thank you for asking. I don't have any officially on the book yet because I've been feeling into the chance of seeing Willie Nelson for the 4th. 'Cause he's got the picnic.
He does the picnic. Now Willie's picnic. It's been a long time, but yeah, that's always a good time.
I heard I think Marilyn was telling me. I think it might be the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, I believe
which
it.
is honestly kind of legendary.
No, it's legendary.
That's that's legit legendary at this point. 50 years. I mean, I could just imagine.
It's longer than we've been alive.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's been doing that picnic for longer than I've been alive for sure.
Yeah,
which blows my mind just thinking about you know, like some of the stories that Marilyn tells me about Willie and like that. Oh, you know, I love seeing someone who like really like has such a long life of music and creating and like, and his son Lucas is incredible too. I mean, honestly, like I didn't even really realize how good Lucas was till the band. There's a band that plays actually right now. For anyone who's like listening, Word Ecstasy Boys. There's a band playing right now. You might hear it through the wall a little bit.
I hear it. We
Oh
hear
yeah,
it.
we hear it. We hear it. And so this band, they're called Mike and the Burnalls, and they play this Lucas Nelson song, and I think it's called "I Hope You Find Yourself." And I remember the first time I heard it, I thought they wrote it, and I was like, "This band is amazing. Who wrote this song?" And it's like this beautiful like love song about just like being with someone, and she doesn't quite know what she's doing in her life, so she goes off and runs off somewhere, and then like, but you know, he's still like holding on to that like that chance that she could come back and find herself in Costa Rica or whatever, and then come back and like
Maybe getting some ayahuasca.
maybe get some eyes. Right? She be getting that ceremony with that tent. You know? I've heard they got some ceremonies in Costa Rica that are pretty. I've heard there's some NFL players.
I've heard
down there too. There's a place called you ever heard of Rhythmia?
No.
So Rhythmia, I guess it's like the one in Costa Rica. Where
Okay.
They get these like NFL players. They'll go, and then they go because it like, especially when there's a lot of guys when they're getting out of the NFL, they're like, what next? What, you know what I mean? You know, because some of these guys, their careers will be like maybe 3 years. You know, especially if they're really like.
That's true.
You know,
That's the
they're on the
average
offensive line.
career of a player.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's tough. That's one of the hardest jobs there is. They're just continuously just, you know, charging into people or, you know, just, you know, defending that. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
So some of these guys, like when they're coming out of their career, they're like, well, what next? And so a lot of them, they've started going to this place called Rhythmia, and they'll sit in on these ayahuasca ceremonies. They'll have some, because, you know, for them, it's a good way to be able to like let go of some of that, you know, impact from being on the front line.
Well, and CTE is a real
The
thing.
CTEs and ayahuasca's actually there's been some studies that suggest that it's it promotes neurogenesis, so it can reconnect like parts of the brain that may have been damaged from like CTE and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so it's been a really interesting type of medicine for people, especially in the NFL.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there has some sort of medical benefit to it, which is of interest to me. That's one of the things that I'm dabbling in actually.
Absolutely. Shout out to the medicine community here in Austin.
Hey, we're big into health here.
We got they got the
holistic
church.
health.
All kinds of holistic health.
Yeah, a lot of nutraceuticals.
Yeah, big shout out to there's a genetics company that they hosted an album release show last weekend that I got invited to. We listened to a new album there, so it was cool like talking. Big shout out to the whole team over there. It's off of Bee Caves Road.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right off of the Capital Texas Highway kind of spot.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
I was thinking of doing a boat party on the 4th, but I'm like, it's gonna be. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, I mean that sounds pretty fun though.
We've done it before. You know, we've gotten the boats on Lake Travis and.
Oh, Lake Travis is my favorite. Man, I love Lake Travis boats.
They're probably gonna market the prices way up, and it's gonna be super crowded.
Facts.
We when Marty used to have a boat. In fact, I think we went out on the 4th one time on the boat. But you can get stuck on the lake, and it's a lot of people. I mean, the lake's going to be packed on the 4th.
Packed.
Yeah. See how the weather plays out, but it's the 250th anniversary, so I think it's going to be extra crazy.
I resonate with that. Yeah. I heard they're doing quite the event for that too. So that's
in DC.
In DC.
Yeah. That I've even thought about that. That's going to be a spectacle.
Yeah.
If you can make your way down there, it's going to be
wild.
It's going to be wild. They're going to roll it all out and put on the biggest show.
Yeah.
So I've been I feel like I'm a patriot. I still listen, man. I still not to get political, but I I'm one of those people that I'm still proud to be an American.
Yeah.
I still love our country.
Yeah.
You know, I'm one of those people. You
Yeah.
know, I know that people feel different. You know,
I resonate with that.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing your experience.
yeah. We
And yeah.
talked earlier about
Yeah.
the Fourth of July thing that
Hmm.
we did back in
Yes,
at the
sir.
house.
Yes, sir.
I'm still. I may not be the guy who's doing the fireworks, but
Hmm.
I'm still a patriot. You know.
Yeah, I resonate with that, and your feelings are valid. I would consider myself a patriot too, man. You know, I love this country. I feel like honestly, some of the most beautiful things that have ever been created, that I've ever seen at least, have come from this country. I mean, if we're looking especially at music, like, I mean, for me, like,
Forget about it.
I mean, yeah, if we go back to the jazz tradition, that's a uniquely American art form, and to me, like, I feel like jazz innovates. I mean, as far as like any kind of music style, like, I mean, I feel like hip hop is really the spiritual extension of jazz in some way.
It's definitely a derivative
Hmm. Hmm.
of jazz.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about how when African Bambaataa and all those guys in New York kind of started it with the boom bap and just some
Hmm.
of the earlier sounds and even the funk and just kind of
Yeah.
it all kind of comes from that jazz funk era, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh yeah. That's like the meters with the that.
And the samples. I mean,
Hmm.
a lot of
Hmm.
the samples that get used. I mean, some of the best music is, Kanye West,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Chicago legend right there.
Chi-Town
Shout
legend
out to Chi-Town legend.
and a sampling legend.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be clear, he made a lot of his hits from samples.
But I want to go on the record and say, yay, like, he was extremely creative with how he would sample too, because he would take soul samples and he would speed them up, right? So not many people were really like, he was doing it in a very creative way where like he would turn it into something totally different. Like, and he's a genius because and I know there's people who have different feelings about. Yeah, I will go on the record and say musically he's a total genius.
Musically, you
I
can't
don't think,
touch him.
I think there's no one close as far as like what he did. And I think he really put Chicago on the map in a really beautiful way, and still continues to do so. I mean, honestly, I think he's still innovating. He's a real genius.
He's got my favorite, you know, for sure hip hop album, if not one of my favorite just overall albums, College Dropout.
College Dropouts, it's one of my favorite albums as well.
Just in general, I mean,
Yeah.
he's no man. There's no doubting, denying what Kanye did to music,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why when people try to use the argument of him sampling, and they did the same thing to a lot of people, right? That sample, but if you do it well and you put your own spin, it's a tool.
Yeah.
People have always hated. There's always pushback. I shouldn't say hate. That's a strong word, but with music, there's always a pushback when it comes to utilizing like tools and technology. Like right now, we have AI, and if you just obviously if you just put in a prompt and you let AI do everything, and okay, I don't necessarily give you credit for that, but if you use it, if you're putting the lyrics together, if you're kind of designing it, it helps you to make things faster. And I've heard I'm gonna be honest, some good AI songs out there.
Low key, there's some bangers.
People don't want to give it credit, but and again, I love pure music. I love music in all its forms, but good music is good music.
Amen to that.
Good music, but I do like it to come from a human.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I feel it differently.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I feel it differently. So, there's a purpose for music, right? If you're using it for commercial purposes, it just needs to sound good or like it needs to sound. But when you're looking for that feeling, there's a human to human connection when it comes from a human, right?
Yeah. I
So,
resonate with that.
I'm not anti AI music though, but it's not what I'm playing in the car right now.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experience. That's it. I deeply appreciate, how your feelings are valid, because I feel a similar way, right? It's like I love when people innovate. I love when people and honestly, there's that one woman. she's been like charted. She started to chart on Billboard with like AI generated like R&B. It's kind of SZA. It's kind of SZA-esque.
The Sheena
Yeah,
Taylor.
I think that's who. Yeah, I think that's. I'm still learning more
I,
about her as an artist, but I guess what she does, she curates it. So she puts it in. So even though it's not her singing, she still has built this pretty massive audience of people who like are really resonating with it. So hey,
there's quite a
I
few.
say God bless her for finding that niche. You know, and like
Hey man, she's putting out songs that we may not have had otherwise.
true, true.
Whether she's in the, you know, people have always listen. It's when you're using a vocator or when you're using a producer is mixing and mastering and making you sound perfect. Do you sound the same live? No, everyone doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then you always kind of get, you know, there's always a little bit of, you know, where's the goalpost, right?
yeah,
How are we measuring it, right?
yeah.
You know, but yeah, you can. I mean, people are building followings, and you know, it's music.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to listen to it. If you don't want to listen to it, just turn it off.
Amen to that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I just, you know, I'll use it as a tool to do things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely like, I'll use Chat GPT for, you know, reviewing contracts and things like that. You know,
Oh yeah.
just to summarize it real quick. Like, hey, let me break this down for me. It's 50 pages. I don't want to read all this right now. Help me to,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yes, sir.
condense it down to something that I can understand quickly. Now you have to be careful with it because sometimes I've seen Chat GPT either just be wrong
Mm-hmm.
or lie. It's
True.
one of the two. I like to say it's just being wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's incorrect
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think it has the, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
necessarily the soul to lie.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's just wrong sometimes. So you have to be careful with it. But it's a tool. It's the same thing as looking at anything on Google.
Yeah, true.
You know, but I've looked and said, hey, should I take, you know, this medication with this medication and how they interact? And it can give you some good general quick knowledge, you know.
True. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I'm,
I digress.
I'm good. Thank you for sharing your experience with that too. You know, it's definitely it's a tool. I resonate with what you're saying. It's like I feel like anything is it can be like it's like a hammer. Like I can build a house with a hammer, or I can like
Hit you in the
I can hit
head.
myself in the head. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
And trust me, I've been a carpenter in my life, so I've had my fair share of nailing in, you know, hitting my finger, you know, instead of the nail, you know. So it's like it depends on definitely that discernment.
Yeah.
100%, like being able to have a steady hand and a steady mind, just like knowing that, you know, it can. I like it for what you're saying, generalizing. I think getting like a bird's eye view or something.
Yeah.
And just being like, because I resonate with that from, you know, especially dealing with like music industry, and there's so many contracts and like, or even just in general, like even signing a lease.
Yeah.
You know, state of Texas leases that can be like 25, 50 pages just
Yeah.
to like look at if I were really to go through all the details.
Mm-hmm.
There's you know, that's a good amount of information. So I don't know how many people that really like read through the whole lease, you know. So it's like even just to have something to just summarize it and be like, oh yeah, here you go. Like, that still might be better than not reading it.
Absolutely. I mean, love it or hate it, it's here to stay. They're building more data centers. So,
It seems like, yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't think it's. I remember people said the internet, you know, was not going to be what it is today, right? People
Yeah.
were still holding on to the phone book. I don't need a website.
Yeah.
I don't want to put myself on a website. I'm in the yellow pages. The yellow pages, for those of you under the age of 30, it used to be a book about this thick, and it had names of businesses and people and phone numbers, and we used to search it to find those people. It was in alphabetical order usually, unless you took out an ad, and then you could. Yeah, it was a phone book.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And I remember when I was like in like school, like grade school, they'd have that like really strong guy come into the gym. They'd get all the kids, and then he would like take a whole phone book and he'd like rip it.
Yeah.
He'd be like,
Like, why is this guy ripping the phone book? But
I just remember there was that one, and it was like I remember at first he wasn't able to rip. He was like It was so thick. Just to give people context, if y'all don't know what a phone book is,
Yeah.
man, even the most, just imagine the most jacked dude you know, just like barely able to tear that thing in half.
Google phone book images, check it out. You'll be blown away.
Man, that actually blows my mind to think about the fact that there's people who are young enough, they don't know what a phone book is.
But there was a lot of people that pushed back against being online and saying that they wouldn't need it. Like they didn't. And so that's just the evolution of how things evolve, right?
Yeah.
So I think, slowly you start to realize, okay, I am going to need to be online. I am going to need to have a presence if I'm going to be in business.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be in business, I'm going to need to have an online presence.
Yeah.
And so I think now it's creating an AI agent, right? Create an agent for yourself.
The agents, that's
that's kind of where we're at right now. We're just scratching the surface. We don't even know what this is going to be in 3 years. I was going to say 10 years, but we don't know where it's going to be in 3, 5. I think the way it, progresses so quickly.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of scary.
Your feelings are valid. I definitely honestly, I remember even a year ago, I was still barely even using AI. I was kind of like, I don't even know about this. And then I just started I think I started to see people using it and they were moving 10 times faster than me. And I was like, man, if I don't use this, I'm going to be moving 10 times slower than this guy. And it just started to get to the point where I was like, I mean, just from a sheer business mindset, what you were talking about, when social media came out, people realized, man, I could reach so many more people putting myself out there on this than I could through what I was doing before.
Door to door.
Door to door, yeah, just knocking and saying, hey, it's all of a sudden people are putting up, posts on Instagram, and it's a whole different kind of ball game. It's, one of those goes viral. I had a friend, he went from he was sitting at 3,000 followers for years. And then he just had one pop, and now he's at 300,000. It's just
on with what?
Well, that was with Instagram.
Oh,
he makes this content. Shout out to Bonna Wynn. He was actually born here in Austin. He lives now over in the I think he told me I reached out to him recently. He said he's up in the Pacific Northwest. He's got his mom's up in Portland, so he's
nice, beautiful area.
Beautiful, and he's got an online business, and so he really took off because he came up with this idea of something called the golden frequency, which is this basically the sound he made on Instagram that he's a music producer too. He used to live in Los Angeles, and he created a sound for people who are into kind of that stuff we were talking about earlier, the more sound healing, new age kind of alternative medicine type of people.
Okay.
For people, there's big shout out to my friend Sherry. Her artist name is Wolfie Lights. She does these electronic music festivals. Incredible electronic music producer, also amazing singer, brilliant virtuoso piano player. Wow. She has all these talents, and she used to be one of those performing piano players. In Vegas, we were talking about entertainment. Mm-hmm. She was a piano player, but they would put her up on those steel cables and hoist her up into the air 100 feet or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And she would be playing piano.
Just like a real performer.
Yeah, like a real performer.
Yeah.
But one time, I think she was telling me the cable snapped.
Oh, wow.
And she fell. And she was in the hospital, and the doctor, they were trying to give her whatever they could figure out, and it wasn't working. And finally, she figured out these healing frequencies, and she would play them over her body, and she said when she started doing that, then her bones finally ended. It was from the vibration of that frequency. So
wow,
there's definitely some people who are they're into that frequency.
Mm-hmm.
It's it can be a healing kind of thing. So that's just just something I've been resonating with what you're talking about. With I honestly don't know where this technology is going, and honestly, I feel there's who knows what could be possible. Sometimes I feel I'm an optimist. I feel I'm an optimist overall because I feel ultimately it's up to God.
I think so.
And I feel God is good, God is love, and I feel even if I know some people are saying, oh, AI and this, and it's well, I feel no matter how strong AI is or how good it is God is the greatest, and that's
absolutely.
I feel as long as I'm grounded in that glory of God and just keep walking in that light, then I have faith that God will guide me. Yeah,
because again, AI is just a tool.
Yeah,
it's just a tool.
It's just it's a real fancy hammer.
Yeah, don't just protect me from bullets. Protect me from AI and all the other things out there because it's scary, man. What people are doing with it to try to steal your identity and things of that nature, and
Yeah.
literally can take your voice and make it sound like it's you on the phone.
Oh, your feelings are valid. My grandma actually, someone did something like that to her where they like called me up, and this was even before AI. This was like 10 years ago when I was starting to work in Chicago, down in Millennium Park, at the
Mm-hmm.
Prudential Building. And I remember I went into the office. I got home one day, and like my grandma was like, she was very upset. I was living upstairs from her, and I was renting out the spot upstairs, and like she was upset. And I was like, oh, what's going on? My mom was like, oh yeah, like someone called your grandma, and she thought it was you. So I guess someone impersonated me and like was trying to act like I was in jail, and that like I
Mm.
needed her to send me money for bail. So I guess this person, whoever it was, asked for 10 grand, and God bless her, she sent him 10 grand.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah. So she just sent him 10 grand, just no
Wow.
questions asked, and like she thought she got me out of jail. Turns out I wasn't even in jail. I was just at work, and
Wow.
like
Yeah, that's and that's
yeah,
that's happening a lot.
yeah, yeah,
I'm like, hey, if you get that call from me, if you don't see me or hear it or see someone that I know, don't send that money.
amen,
Don't send that money.
amen, yeah. Because people be out there really like getting clever with these schemes. Like they're getting out. Like I've had people, they'll try to reach out to me. One guy reached out, one woman, I don't know who it was, but reached out to me last summer when I was in Orlando, and like said, hey, like basically I thought it was like a job opportunity kind of thing, but they ended up like getting me into this kind of situation where I ended up,
Sophisticated
yeah, I ended
schemes.
up losing like $1,600 from this kind of scam, like because
Wow.
I didn't really like. I didn't feel like I was not honestly. I wasn't in like the right state of mind. I was like dealing with my grandfather's death and like kind of managing some of his estate over there. And I was just feel like I wasn't quite thinking clearly because I was just like processing that loss, and like they just got me in a weird time where like I just ended up sending them that money, and then they weren't who they claimed to be, and it just became a whole kind of ordeal. So
Goodness gracious.
I'm just grateful for God though, for God just guiding me with the discernment to I'm just grateful that I have a roof over my head, and
Amen.
I got my family here, and I got a community, and I've been blessed to make music, and been blessed to talk with you tonight too, man. Like get to hear
Man,
your experience.
likewise. Likewise. This was fun.
Absolutely.
This is fun. We got to do it again sometimes. Maybe you can hop on over and join me on Austin Atmosphere.
Yes, sir. I want to come on Austin Atmosphere. Yes, sir. I would
Yeah.
love to check that out and be a part of that experience with that podcast.
Yeah, that'd be cool. No, this was good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, Keenan. And yeah, one last time, if you want to pitch anything to the good people watching, if there's anything you have on your heart, I invite you to share your.
I just want to say, hey guys, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, it's never too late to get one. Um, just reach out. You can find me on Kheanan the Realtor on Instagram. You can hit me up on. Look at the Austin Atmosphere channel on YouTube. You can just go to Kheanan.com. I can help you with your real estate needs, and we can talk about other things as well. So just you can Google me. It's not hard. It's not hard to get in touch with me. But yeah, get that relationship right with God, and everything else will fall into place. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but you'll win in the end, because God wins. So God bless.
God bless, and thank you, Keenan. I appreciate you. Sending you many blessings.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.